Welcome to your Daily 5 for Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. I'm not sure how much national news this made or how much it is around, but it probably did get picked up in a few places because California lawmakers are advancing a bill that looks at least likely to reach the governor's desk because it is a bipartisan measure. For those outside the United States, that simply means that both Republicans and Democrats are supporting it, a rare thing in the United States these days. But the bill's aim is to force companies like Google and Meta to share, I believe they said 70% of advertising revenue that is driven from news story posts. And I'm not really sure how that's defined, but that's what it says, to be shared with local news outlets. Now, on the face of it, this is legislation that actually you can really understand where it's coming from. Most people, at least in the U.S., at this point, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, I'm just saying this is what is, at this point, national news is pretty commoditized. It's just something that you can get anywhere. Again, I'm not necessarily saying that's a good thing, but the reality is, if there is a natural disaster or a mass shooting or anything that would make a national news outlet, you will get it either through Facebook or a Google search or probably an app on your phone that has news alerts or Twitter or any number of places where people can either have some kind of automated system that re-reports news or that somebody would post, hey, this just happened, and then it would get picked up and spread. So at this point, national news isn't really what most people necessarily care about because they can get it anywhere for free. What they do tend to care about is local news. Because yes, if there's an earthquake somewhere in the United States and a bunch of people die, that's terrible, and people will read about it, of course, but it doesn't tell them that there's going to be a flood that might hit their children's school, tomorrow, and that's what they're going to want to know, and that's what a local news outlet will project because it isn't national news. And so to a degree, you look at this bill and you go, oh, okay, they're trying to keep local news outlets alive by taking some of the money that these companies make by essentially taking other people's work. Again, I'm just summarizing here. Taking other people's work, other people's reporting, and just and selling ads and having people buy ads off of it when they really didn't do anything but repost those news stories. And the intent, I actually have no problem with. I understand what the intent is. The problem is this bill's not going to do anything. The reality is this bill will have zero impact for any number of reasons. I mean, let's forget about the fact that these companies will figure a way around these bills, that you have to suddenly try to qualify what counts as a local news outlet, depending on who owns them, what ad revenue is actually based on the news reposting, how do you divvy that up? But past that point, it really doesn't matter how much they try to tax people for reposting stories. If they manage to do this, and if it is signed, and if it actually has some kind of impact, all that's going to happen is, I mean, yes, you would probably, I guess it would further, it might dismantle the advertising structure based on news reposting. I suppose that's a possible outcome. I don't know whether that really, again, does much. I don't think it actually saves local news outlets. I don't think it really changes the nature of how news is consumed and viewed and seen. There is, like so many other things, a devaluing of the importance of news reporting with context and the ability to understand what a story actually means as opposed to what it is. I can tell you that a chemical plant blew up in a state, right? That's a fact. I mean, it could be a fact. But what you don't get from that fact, that reported fact that would be on Twitter and everywhere else or on a little ticker going across the bottom of the screen somewhere, that won't tell you that, okay, that means that 3 months from now, prices at a gas pump or somewhere else are going to shoot up because that location was a key refinery for XYZ. It doesn't tell you that that could tank the local economy because it was the biggest purveyor of jobs and now it's a crater in the ground. That's where reporting and context come in. That's past the actual fact. This won't change anything with that, and it won't, frankly, make people value what good reporting is. So again, I understand the intent of this bill. And to a degree, I can sympathize with it because what they're seeing is they want to try to preserve what many people still greatly value in terms of news, which is local news outlets. The issue is this bill doesn't do anything about the other side of the problem, which is that people don't have enough value for how national news is reported and what actually matters in that reporting, which is not the facts themselves, but everything that surrounds them. No bill is going to fix that. I honestly don't know what will, but I don't think it's going to be this bill. So it's a bill where you look at it, you can understand where it came from, but I don't know that it's actually going to address the fundamental problem. Later.